All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am out today with a sick kid. So what I want to do is go through these notes, which are the last notes of the semester, have you copy this into your note packet, and then I will discuss what's going on with the homework for today as well. So the last couple of days, we've been doing a lot of this square root and stuff, and if we square root a negative, we get no solution, right? If we square root 0, we get 0. And on the previous page, when we square root a number like 49 solving for x, we had to write plus or minus 7. We had to write plus or minus 5. Because when I plug 5 in, it would work, but when I plug negative 5 in, negative 5 squared, 25, times 5 equals 125. Negative 7 squared, 49, times negative 2 is negative 49, minus 16 is negative 114. So even the negative numbers work. So that's why when you take the square root, you got to write plus or minus. Now when it's 0, plus or minus 0 is just 0, so we don't need that. So, as we look at today's notes, okay, the first thing I would do is try and get rid of anything that's being added or subtracted. So a problem like this, I need to get rid of that 3 first. A problem like this can just square root. Like this, I can just square root. Like this, I can just square root. I'm going to get to the homework here in just a few minutes, but on a problem like this, I need to minus the 12 first. Right? On a problem like this, I need to divide by the 3 first, and so on. So let's go through and just solve a few of these examples. So the first thing here, there's nothing to add or subtract or multiply or divide. So I go right to square rooting both sides. And here, again, the square and the square root cancel. I get x minus 1 equals. And the square root of 25, again, is plus or minus 5. When we're solving for x, you need to account for both the positive and negative case. Now, for equation 1, we're going to take the positive case. So I get x minus 1 equals positive 5. And for equation 2, so again, the positive is going to go here. The negative is going to go here. It's just x minus 1 equals negative 5. And you should always be doing the same steps to solve this. So for this, I would plus 1. So I better be plussing 1 over here. And I am. Here, those will cancel. X equals 5 plus 1, which is 6. And then I go here. Those will cancel. X equals negative 5 plus 1. Plug it into your calculator. It's negative 4. Okay. Then I just got to check real quick. Are they going to work? Right? 6 minus 1 is 5. 5 squared is 25. That works. Negative 4 minus 1 squared is negative 5 squared, which is 25. So it checks. So both answers, good to go. Okay. So similarly on B, I have to first get rid of the 3 because I have to get rid of those numbers before I do the square root. So I divide both sides by 3. I get x minus 4 squared equals 16. And then I square root both sides from there. Here they cancel, and I get x minus 4 equals plus or minus 4. That's the square root of 16, right? So now I get 2 cases here, 2 equations. I get x minus 4 equals 4, and I get x minus 4 equals negative 4. And again, this should be the same steps. Add 4, sure enough. Add 4, sure enough. Over here, x equals 8. Over here, x equals 0, because negative 4 plus 4 are kind of opposites, right? So I plug them back in. If I plug in 8, I get 4 squared is 16 times 3 is 38. It works. 0 minus 4 is negative 4 squared is 16 times 3 is 48. They both work. Okay? Then there's on your own. Ideally, I would want you to pause it here and just try these 2 on your own. So if you're feeling good enough, like these top 2 were okay to you, maybe just try these 2. Pause it, come back, check your answers. For everybody else, let's move on. Square root both sides. I get x minus 7, because again, those cancel, equals plus or minus 12, which again gives me 2 equations. X minus 7 equals 12, and x minus 7 equals negative 12. And again, same steps. There I get x equals 19. If I add 7 here, those cancel, I get x equals negative 5. Sorry, that's a 19. I go back and plug them in my head. 19 minus 7 is 12. 12 squared is 144. Good. Negative 5 minus 7 is negative 12 squared. Negative times a negative makes it positive, 144. They both work. Okay. Last problem here on this notes. Okay, I'm going to square root both sides right away. And I get 2x plus 1 equals plus or minus 7. So again, 2 cases. 2x plus 1 equals 7. 2x plus 1 equals negative 7. And the same steps. I'm going to minus 1 to both sides here. 2x equals 6, and divide to get x equals 3. Right here, same thing. Minus 1 should be the first step, just like it was on that one. and negative 7 plus negative 1 is negative 8. And divide by 2 here, just like I did there. X equals negative 4. When I plug 3 in, 6 plus 1 is 7, squared is 49. When I plug negative 4 in, 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, plus 1 is negative 7, squared is 49. They both work, okay? Your homework, I'm about to go over a little bit of that here in just a second, is 9.3c, number 1 through 5, all. It's been a while since we've done them all. This is when I want you to. And it's not because I'm absent, because literally, if you look at my plans, I had that written down already from my notes anyway. So, let's talk about a few of these problems from the homework. So at this point, maybe you pause it, you make sure you get the homework from the sub, okay? And just go through the problems. Number 1A is just like what we did in the notes. I don't need to rewrite this. You can just look at the notes. Square root both sides, write your plus case, write your minus case, okay? This problem, well, we see plenty of those as we go through the rest of the work, so let's just do one together. Plus 50 to both sides first, because we would solve it just like that's in x. I get 2x squared equals 50. Again, divide by 2, x squared equals 25, and square root to give me x equals plus or minus 5. And that is correct. No matter what I plug in there, I get that. Again, C is kind of like A. Right here, you'd probably want to divide by 3 first. Okay. On this one, you'd probably want to minus 10 first, divide by 5. On E, you'd probably want to add the 4 first, divide the 2, and then square root. Now remember, if when you're doing this, you get the square root of a negative number, that means it's undefined. Okay. If you get the square root of 0, well, that's just 0. And if you get the square root of any other number, it's going to be plus or minus, well, the square root of that number. Okay. All right, so, and again, G, you'd have to minus 5 first to both sides. H, you'd have to minus 12 to both sides first. And then, let's just talk about it. All right, x plus 3 squared equals negative 4. And then square root both sides. And when you do that in your calculator, you'll see that this says error. So hopefully you realize that right off the bat then, that means no solution on that problem right there, okay? These are the problems that you got to break it down, like this gets broken down into 9 and 5 and square root of x squared. Go finalize that to write your answer up here. This is the square root of 49, and then I have to break x into 1, and however many is left when I pull 1 out, which is 6, and then you can break those down and get your answer there, okay? Backside, combine like terms, distribute, right? And you multiply what's under with what's under and what's in with what's in. Okay, times the 9s, FOIL, okay, and then distribute, okay. I don't need you to do this problem right here, C, okay, because we haven't been doing that all the way around. But on the rest of these, again, it's just do the opposite. So for this one, I would add 3 to both sides. Those will cancel. Square root of 3x minus 5 equals 5. To get rid of a squared, the opposite is a square root, the opposite is to square both sides. Those cancel. 3x minus 5 equals 25. And then you would do this, add the 5 and divide by 3 to get your answer. You go in and plug it back in, okay? I'm not going to keep going on the rest of these. Down at the bottom, these are a little bit different than what we've been used to. Hopefully you remember what makes A positive or negative. I'll give you a hint. It's whether it's up or down. And then the zeros are going to be where it crosses the axis. So the zeros for this one are going to be right here and right here at negative 3 and at 2. And then the value of C, well, C in this form is just the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is right there, right? So I'm trying to just do it differently to those, but that's at negative 3 as well, okay? That'll help you hopefully do the rest of these as well. So all of this 1 through 5, so both pages, is your homework, and I've done quite a bit for you. You can go back and rewind it if you need to. Please don't show up Wednesday with nothing. I'm not going to be here today, but I don't want to come back finding out y'all didn't do anything in class today when you've had plenty of time to work on this in class, okay? Do your thing, do what you're supposed to do. See you on Wednesday, hopefully.